Elvis Presley in the black community. Let's go.
I thought he was a very beautiful, and still is, a very beautiful person, and his memories shall probably forever live on.
Welcome to Pegasus versus the World, where we take on challenges, comedy, trending topics, and some travel.
City boy, city boy.
All right, a gang of people have asked me to watch this. That is Elvis Presley and the black community. That echo will never die. I didn't know that part, but I knew Elvis Presley and the black community. So today, I'm finally taking a minute to sit down and check it out. So this will be dope. I've been doing a bunch of Elvis music reactions on my music reaction channel. And, dude, Elvis is kind of the truth. I kind of slept on him. Now, I heard this, you ain't nothing but a hound dog and, you know, just a few joints here and there. But, you know, If I Can Dream is kind of crazy. His Martin Luther King dedication or tribute, that shit is wild. I didn't even know he had that song. Anyways, we're about to get into it. Please support the channel that created this. I'll give the name real quick. It is Foxhole Music 76. Make sure you hit the video with a like and check these things out independently of my reactions. My reactions are never a substitute for the original content. So, you know, check it out. People compiling this stuff. But we're going to watch this right now. If you want to support me, you can like, share, comment, or subscribe. Also, I'll link in the description my music reaction channel and my podcast. Without further ado, Elvis Presley and the black community. That echo will never die.
I thought he was a very beautiful, and still is, a very beautiful person, and his memories shall probably forever live on.
Well, you ain't nothing but a rabbit. You ain't no friend of mine.
There is no room in this city for the vulgar performances of Elvis Presley.
It's shocking. I watched him gyrate his legs and swivel his hips. And our parent-teachers group feels he should not be on television.
We've set up a 20-man committee to do away with this vulgar, animalistic rock and roll bop.
Did he say the N-word? Bro, they did Elvis like this? Dang, they treating him like, I seen this type of treatment before.
Set up a 20-man committee to do away with this vulgar, animalistic rock and roll bop. Our committee will check with the restaurant owners and the cafes to see what Presley records is on their machines and then ask them to do away with them.
Animalistic, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Some of y'all white people was tripping in America, man, in the early phase. I ain't gonna throw a general blanket statement over all white folks because obvious there's a gang of cool white folks. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different things going on in America. I think gets blanketed over for, you know, a couple dumbasses like the man who was just talking. But bro, some of that shit that happened in America after slavery, fools was tripping, bro. Like spitting on people, lynchings. Like it was just like there was a lot of slave trade all over the world, and the way black folks were treated in America, it was like different. I think it was in Brazil, like after slavery, the slaves weren't treated the same way we got treated in America. It's just, it's interesting. But again, that's for like a few bad apples can spoil the bunch. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it was everyone. And you got to think of how many people had to fight hand in hand through the civil rights movement. So I think a lot of lines get blurred and skewed in the current moment, but that's crazy. Hearing him talk about Elvis, like he's straight from the hood, man. That's how.
I don't feel that I'm doing anything wrong.
Rock and roll has got to go, and go it does at KWK.
Remember, I think it was Tipper Gore. Man, I might be freaking this up, but y'all remember they were breaking CDs. Rap CDs in the 90s. I remember that because that was my era. You know what I'm saying? That's funny how it's like never changes. You know what I'm saying? Till now it's so damn progressive. people are dressing up like Satan and doing concerts and it's accepted. It is kind of crazy how things just progress along, but got to find that balance.
Obscenity and vulgarity of the rock and roll music is obviously a means by which the white man and his children can be driven to the level with it. It is obviously music.
Everybody mostly turned him down.
Yo!
And because first thing, he had Negroes' ways. This is what they didn't really at that time. They didn't want to accept.
By black performers, and he, in essence, because of at that particular time the kind of backwards mental capability that many people had, as judging a person because of the color of their skin is somewhat still does exist, but back then it was worse. And he actually, because of him being a Caucasian brother, he was able to do away with that whole thing.
He's 77-year-old Early Wright, a disc jockey at radio station WROX in Clarksdale for 45 years.
Hi there. Pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How do you do? This is your soul man.
Bro, they're just dropping M-bombs like this ain't YouTube. This is insane, bro. It's just a reminder of the times. You know what I mean? Like, man, some people were effed up, man. People are still effed up. But like, again, you know, I don't want a blanket statement because there's not like when I've had a pretty good living experience and I've traveled all through America, been to, and of course you get some parts where you're like, oh, I don't think I'm wanted here, or kind of you sense that or whatever. But then again, you never really know because you're just the outsider, and maybe some outsider came in and terrorized the community. You never know. But overall, like, people are pretty cool in America. You know what I'm saying? But that it's just so wild when you start seeing history and the stuff that did happen on American soil. It's just like, that's crazy as hell. Like that, when I hear it, I was like, damn, that's a stinger.
To be with you until I get through. I want you to stand by, don't have no fear. Following Jay's show, should I play one like this one from out of here? Elvis Presley.
Elvis's songs still get good play on Wright's program among the blues, gospel, and jazz recordings that are its staples. It was almost 40 years ago when Elvis drove down to Clarksdale from Memphis with a record and asked him to play it.
And I had been playing his record, and I had never seen him before, and I was amazed to see him. When he introduced himself to being Elvis Presley, then I went all to pieces over him. Then he and I started talking. I used to be the manager of a gospel group called the Four Star Quartet. And I could listen to a man sing a hymn. I could listen to a man sometime talk. I did that. And I could pick him out whether he could fit in my group. And talking to Elvis Presley, I could see a great future in him.
It's no accident that Wright recognized Elvis's strong gospel roots. Here at the East Trigg Baptist Church in Memphis, older members of the congregation remember Elvis joining in with the choir while in high school. These were rousing sessions led by the charismatic pastor, the Reverend W. Herbert Brewster.
Like most black people in the South, and to whose throat God has pressed down a harp of 1,000 strings, it only needed tuning. Elvis's voice was that type of voice that agreed with the thought of Calvary. He had that kind of bent and inclination and attitude that suggested that God could use him. I gave the music a different approach, a new beat. I knew that it wasn't going to hurt if I said, "Must Jesus bear the cross alone," whether I've said with one beat, two beat, whether I've said it high or low. And I told them, come on in here and put your stuff together. They came in here, and it was a glorious experience, and Elvis was in that group.
Elvis came out with a style of his own, and it was very creative. And once he got into it, and you got that feel, Elvis just took off like a late freight. And with Elvis doing this kind of music, gave an injection to black music that no other artist had ever done.
It was like...
That's crazy. This is crazy. Because, you know, when you just out there, people always say that Elvis Presley stole his style from black folks. You know, and a lot of times you'll hear people say, yo, black folks didn't get their just deserved with certain musics, which that is true in some cases, right? Some rock and roll bands stole a bunch of blues concepts or songs and stuff like that. But this dude is saying Elvis kind of did his own thing and injected it, and it kind of changed the direction of black music. Now, I don't know that to be 100% true, but that's what he was saying. And this is just like kind of groundbreaking. You know, when I first did my first Elvis reaction on my music channel, which I might put this there too, because a bunch of people asked me to check this out over there. So if you're confused why I say that, it's because I have two channels, you guys, Pegasus versus the World and Black Pegasus Raps. Black Pegasus Raps is where I do music reactions. Anyways, when I'm doing the music reactions, I didn't even know I think he's from like Mississippi. And people would always say that in the comments, like he had a really good relationship with the black community. And I think this is interesting too, because I'm going to say some shit. People always get mad when I say it, but it's just the truth. You know, this whole Eminem phenomena, right? Because they always compare Eminem to like Elvis. But I just think it's interesting because from what I'm seeing here, man, you know, Elvis was really in the black community. I'm not saying Eminem was or wasn't, but Elvis never dropped a tape where, because like M has a tape where he's just calling people the N-word not in a good fashion. And it's cool. Like, I'm cool with it in the sense of like, I forgive people. I'm like, oh, yo, he was young. You know what I mean? It was a different time, blah, blah, blah. But when you see these white folks on this documentary dropping the N-bomb the way they're dropping it with foul intention, and then fast forwarding that, you know, there's recordings of Eminem saying the N-word with foul intention, it makes you even want to lift up Elvis even more, at least me, because I'm like, yo, he didn't fall victim to the bullshit, man. Not that I've seen. Like, that's crazy. This is dope. This is dope. This speaks volumes, you guys. Speaks volumes about Elvis. And I'm only halfway through. We like only 5 minutes in to a 14-minute video. Yeah, that ain't half, actually. But anyway, let's go.
Like an earthquake in my neighborhood. The whole place was shaking when he came on. And I said, how did a person possess that kind of power? That it even comes off the TV and grab me in this ghetto neighborhood.
Bro, he ain't lying. That's how my reactions be. I'm like, how's he doing this? That's crazy. Bobby Womack saying this.
The whole place was shaking when he came on. And I said, how did a person possess that kind of power? That it even comes off the TV and grab me in this ghetto neighborhood.
Elvis took my Tutti Frutti, and I was very disgusted. But by him singing it, he really made it bigger and made me bigger.
During those days, if it was a white artist doing something, they would just say, they don't like our blacks and we don't like them either. He's nothing but a copycat. But Elvis Presley, when he came on, chicks was screaming and going crazy, and it was just like any other neighborhood. And I said, this guy's got something going, man.
Elvis had something that made him sound like he truly meant it, and that's what made a lot of people like myself like him.
I think Elvis had lots of soul. He appealed to black people. He definitely had to have soul in order to do that.
I think there's ever been an artist that when his name went on the marquee, they knew he was coming. People came from all over the world. I never heard of that.
Elvis did a lot of stuff that, you know, rappers do these days.
He had the bling. You gotta have the bling when you're from Memphis.
He had the bling, he had a Cadillac, he had like a gangster in it.
Was he from Memphis? They're saying he's from Memphis, Tennessee. I thought y'all were telling me maybe he was born in Mississippi. It's an M word, Missouri. No, I think it was Mississippi, but I could be tripping. Let's go. That's crazy. 3-6 Mafia is in this. That's insane. Now we're like talking about shit I grew up seeing and hearing. That's wild.
As the snow flies on a cold and gray Chicago morning, a poor little baby child is born in the ghetto.
The song also resonates with people who've only met Elvis through his songs.
Elvis talking about the hood. They talking about where we come from.
Paul Beauregard and Jordan Houston are the Oscar-winning rap duo 3-6 Mafia. They grew up just 2 blocks from Graceland in one of Memphis's poorest neighborhoods.
I want a CD scratcher.
My mom used to always listen to the song when I was young. He talked about, things that she went through. She had my mom had a bunch of kids, like 9 kids. You know what I'm saying? That's how you get somebody to listen to your song. You talk about what they know about and what they want to hear. And she know about the ghetto, because, she lived in the ghetto.
In the ghetto.
That's it.
And his mama cries. But if there's one thing that she don't need, it's another hungry mouth to feed in the ghetto.
After we find the part on the record that we want to use, we sample it into the drum machine or the keyboard. That way we can loop it like.
My first line says, first I'm broke, so I hang out with the rat and roach. It's still broke, so I'm sleeping on apartment floors. So it's just like the struggle, what's going on in the hood. First I'm broke, so I hang out with the rat and roach. It's still broke, so I'm sleeping on apartment floors. And I was off beat, but it's all good, because it's on TV. maybe do some edits, make me look cool, maybe put my name in the credits.
And once we have all that ready, we load it into the drum machine and then pay out.
So he starts to roam the streets at night, and he learns how to steal and he learns how to fight in the ghetto.
Survival is an everyday task. Watching your back for the man wearing the mask. I say you might get.
That's crazy. I actually never heard this song. I didn't listen to 3-6 like that, man. Because I'm from a very Christian household. If y'all don't know where 3-6 Mafia comes from, originally I think it was just 666 Mafia. Then they changed it to 3-6 Mafia. And then I think 3-6 or something. So I never got into that stuff because it was a little driven towards that. But that's crazy. I didn't know they did a remix of it. That's insane. That DJ Paul. And that's what's funny too. People give rap a bad name, whatever. People gonna hate. But the fact that a lot of these producers that people say aren't making their own music actually know how to play the keys. And there's a lot of complexity in the way they chop up samples and make it work and fit and kind of revitalize. But what a better, this is kind of crazy. This is like a perfect fit, taking Elvis's The Ghetto with some homies who are from the ghettos of Memphis. I think Graceland was in Memphis. That's why it keeps reemerging here. But I don't know. This is tight. This is tight to me. I like stuff like this.
It's stuck. If you in the hood looking like it came up, we ride old school whips high off the ground right beside a player hill. It ain't bad as it seems. We still stay fly looking so clean.
First I'm broke, so I hang out with the rat and roach. And still broke, cause I'm sleeping on apartment floors. The junkies get up, kick when they smoke the brick.
Man, this joint's about to get copyright claim. Shit, I didn't know. I didn't know all this was in there. Might have to trim it out.
I never seen a drug dealer ever call it quits. The hood struggle is to make it, gotta get the change. See, every day is like a dark cloud full of rain. The feds tapping for what's dangerous when you hood trapping. So don't get lost in the sauce slinging, cold crackling.
So help your brother along the way, no matter where he starts. But the same God that made you made him too. These men with broken hearts.
During the 60s. All right. I'm back. I'm not sure if I'm going to have to trim out that last segment because copyright claims are crazy on YouTube. So if it just all of a sudden just jump cuts, whatever, I just watched the 3-6 Mafia, DJ Paul and Juicy J sample Elvis in the Ghetto, make a dope song, and then end the song with the sample of Elvis talking about, you never leave your brothers behind, like some really deep, like I'm getting goosebumps. And it's just so crazy to see that dynamic and parallel what they did. That's super dope. And also I was highlighting in there how DJ Paul, made the beat. It's a little more complex than people are always just so quick to be like, oh, they just stole this, that, and the other, which essentially it's technically borrowing or using, not stealing, when the original artist is getting compensated from the royalties and is in the credits, right? The stealing is, give me your shit. Oh, I'm out of here. You ain't getting your shit back. That's stealing. But when you're compensating someone for something, that is not stealing. That is using, borrowing, trading, whatever the hell you want to call it. So anyway, that was really cool to see. Two worlds collide right here, man. I am tripping out on this documentary. It's put together really well. I wonder if this person on YouTube put it together or if it's a documentary that already had been out. Oh, that's little Elvis, huh? That's his mom and dad? I think that's him. That's crazy as hell.
Made him too. These men with broken hearts.
You know what's crazy? What's crazy about that in particular is that I can actually attest to that. I could attest to what they just said about Elvis because I've done reactions. And when I did a reaction, he did a whole gospel joint. It was like almost with a black church, a full black church almost, you know? And I've been seeing it as I'm doing reactions on my other channels. You're seeing certain artists embrace black culture and other cultures in general and just be open-minded for the time. In this day and age, it's just like, this is just what we do. We mix it up, you know? It's 2025. Ain't no one tripping. But that is because the people who came before us embraced other cultures, embraced other things. And it looks like Elvis was at the forefront of that. You know, there's a lot of people who got inspired by Chuck Berry and a bunch of other homies, you know, that don't always get their just desserve. But yeah, this is fire. Sounds like he you know, tipped his hat.
When we first decided to take the gig with Elvis, we had no idea that there would be any racial flack regarding it. Our first racial encounter was when we went to Texas. Elvis was told by his people that, well, you can leave the black girls home. You don't have to bring them. So Elvis wasn't going to do the Astrodome unless his girls could be with him. And he demanded that we be given the star treatment. We had to be in our convertible where everybody could see us and our little blonde could drive us. And that was his statement. You don't like it? Deal with it, or I'm not going to be there. And I thought that was very big of him.
When I joined the group in 1972, they took a big chance because there were no blacks in contemporary or Southern gospel music, and I was the first one, and it made all the headlines and everything. It was in Billboard and all the newspapers in Tennessee. And my first time meeting Elvis was, he had a folder full of clippings of things that he had read about me. As a matter of fact, the Imperials brought me to his suite and he gave me this folder with all the clippings, and he personally welcomed me into the family. And for a guy who, you know, didn't really know where he stood, this was very important that he acknowledged my presence and, you know, made me feel very much a part of what we were all doing. And right away, he treated me like he'd known me for years. He gave me one of those TCB chains and everything, and I was just one of the guys, and I never forgot that.
And I'd been around him with...
God bless him, man. Damn. There, something about this part's making me feel emotional in the sense of human connectivity. Like, can you go back in your mind, like close your eyes and think about some of the moments that changed your life forever for the better because of a human being's good deed? And it doesn't matter the race or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But there is something about that that just touches my soul and my heart when someone just takes it upon themselves just to be a good freaking person. And you never know when that one deed, how it's going to ripple effect, how it's going to be paid forward, because you just do it and you keep moving. But yeah, man, God bless him, man. That's dope.
Other people of color, and I've only seen him give love. He was very generous to people that he didn't even know. You didn't have to be of any racial persuasion for him to love you.
And you know how rumors get started. When there's a big star or something, the people will start rumors. Well, he doesn't like this kind of people, or he doesn't like those people or that people. And I never got that from him.
But you know, Elvis is a whole nother thing. I think it's scary to even be compared to people in that, like, you know, I mean, because he's such a big talent, and in his absence, of course he's bigger than in his presence. And music marks time, so in this time period, what Elvis was to his period would be something totally different. Well, I think rock and roll, I mean, what he brought to Vegas is more than rock and roll. I mean, I think there's so much going on out here on the entertainment front. Like right now, you'll see the likes of Celine Dion and Tony Braxton. It's a lot going out here. You know what I mean? As far as rock and roll is concerned, it's great. I mean, Elvis Presley was able to do things that haven't been able to be duplicated to this day.
Ain't that the truth? That's crazy. I like 50, man. 50's dope. He always, whenever you see his interviews, like I've always like been like, oh, he's just a hood dude. Yeah, he's doing, nah. 50 is mad intelligent, yo. Just watch some of his interviews. You'd be like, bro is on a different level, to be honest.
Black American music influenced Elvis. The fact that people say, well, he's the king of it all, king of rock and roll, is a slap in the face to those that made the music possible in the first place. Not to say he wasn't brilliant. I think he was a fantastic, talented singer.
I don't think he ripped them off. I think once something has been exposed, anyone can add or take from it if they like. He was just so great, so popular, so hot, so anything that he played, it became a hit. To me, they didn't make a mistake when they called him the king.
The only thing I want to know, was he my friend? Did I enjoy him as a performer? Did he give the world of entertainment something? Yes, on all counts. And that's the name of that tune.
He was a bundle of energy set to music. And that echo will never die.
Interesting. So I thought kudos to whoever made this, because it is really good that they put Chuck D from Public Enemies. That's who made the reference saying like, yo, he kind of jacked because this is a conversation that happens in the black community when we're talking about Elvis. And I think it's cool that they put Chuck D in there with the conversation, but then they also mixed it up with a bunch of other brothers. And when you really look at it and think about it, I wonder if the first brother on this little documentary thing, when he said Elvis injected his own thing, you know, I gotta look more into like the time frames and what I don't know a super ton about Elvis. I think he was definitely influenced by black culture and the black music. But I think having that conversation, like, you know, how much of himself did he inject to the music that, you know, makes it his own, or blah, blah, blah. I think that's an interesting question to bring up. But I personally think music is the universal language, so anyone can do it. And, you know, I just think I get it in the black community, you know, if you're coming from it from the mindset that everything was kind of taken from you in America, from your freedoms to this, that, and the other, you're going to have a chip on your shoulder. The reason I'm speaking like this is because I don't personally, but that's just me. I had to grow out of a bunch of trauma that was really gifted to me by, you know, like movies like Roots, which then you find out aren't a real, like, it's not a documentary. It's just a movie. It's actually it's a fiction movie, you know, kind of based on things that could have happened. But, you know, anyways, long story short, I had to reprogram my brain to become successful, because you hang out in the dark too much in this heaviness when you're focused on certain things. So I just internalize things a little bit differently now that I'm older. And they teach you that in therapy, right? You got to let go to become anew, you know? So it's interesting. It's interesting. I'm going to follow up with some Elvis stuff. It's crazy because everything was leading to Elvis. And then that last little part, he flipped that in there. And I know some people feel that way. Absolutely. I'm not saying that's the right way to feel. Again, I don't know enough about Elvis's career and stuff like that. So I'd love to hear more from you guys in the comments. But regardless, what this documentary piece did show is that he had a great relationship with the black community. He cared for the black community, and he gave back to the black community. And I think he probably gave back to all communities, but this highlighted his generosity within the black community, which is a beautiful thing to see. So with that being said, I'm going to rock out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed this. A lot of people asked for this one specifically. So, yeah, man, I'll catch you on the next one.
City boy, city boy.